Lisbon was not necessarily on our radar, but it probably should have been. After 6 days there in April, we were in love. The food, the neighborhoods, the history, and the fact that you can hop on a train and be somewhere completely different in under an hour and still be back in the city for dinner. This is our full Lisbon city guide. Day trips are getting their own dedicated video, so I'll link those as they go live. But today we're walking through everything we did, everything we ate, and everything I'd tell a friend planning this trip. On our way.
We're on our way. Where are we going again?
First stop, Miami. Second stop, Lisbon.
We have a perfectly good airport over here to take. But instead, we're headed all the way down to Miami. Not sure if that saves money or not, but, you know, that's where we're headed.
Stealing my ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Culver's Kids Meals. We flew in on a Wednesday, landed around 5 in the evening, and took the metro straight from the airport to Rossio station. Simple, cheap, no taxi needed. First thing I'd tell anyone, grab a Zapping card the moment you land. It's a reloadable transit card that works on the metro, buses, and trams. We loaded it with credit at the airport and used it every single day. Our first hotel was Hygge House, a boutique property right in the historic center. A short walk from Rossio, great location, walkable to essentially everything in the old city. We stayed there for the first 4 nights. Day 1 we kept intentionally light because we'd had a long travel day. We checked in, walked the immediate neighborhood around the hotel, and just got a feel for the area. For dinner, we grabbed fries from Potato Project, picked up some gelato, and called it an early night. On day 2, we started with a 3-hour tuk-tuk tour that took us from Alfama all the way toward Belém. Stopping at the Miradouros, those are the hilltop viewpoints scattered across the city, and weaving through the neighborhoods we would not have found on our own. If you do nothing else I suggest in this video, do the tuk-tuk tour, and do it early in your trip, day 1 or day 2. You get oriented, you see the whole city, and then you spend the rest of the time going back to the things that caught your eye. This was also where we tried our first pastel de nata. If you don't know what that is, it's a Portuguese custard tart, warm, slightly caramelized on top, and eaten with cinnamon. We had them multiple times after that, and it became a running theme of the trip. Our driver dropped us for lunch at Bifanas do Alfonso. A bifana is a traditional Portuguese pork sandwich on a soft roll. Simple, savory, perfect. One very important detail is they're cash only, so go prepared. After lunch, we walked over to the Church of St. Vincent and peeked inside. Beautiful and free to just step inside. Then we tried to visit the Castle of St. George, which sits up on a hill above Alfama. But there was a workers' strike that day and no tickets being sold. The website wasn't functioning to buy tickets online either, so it was time for a coffee and another pastel de nata. We headed to Bertrand Livraria, which is officially the oldest operating bookshop in the world. Opened in 1732. It's beautiful inside and worth a stop. If you buy a book, they will stamp it with the world's oldest bookstore stamp. We ran into a local grocery for fresh squeezed orange juice and some stuff for breakfast in the morning. We ended day 2 with a Fado dinner. Set price includes dinner and a live performance. Fado is the traditional Portuguese music. It's melancholy and soulful. This was one of the most memorable evenings of the entire trip. If it fits your budget, don't skip it.
Eu quero dar-lhe castigo de tanto. Eu não te acompanho mais.
Day 3, we took the train out to Sintra. Full video on our day trips coming very soon. I'll have it linked. We spent the morning and early afternoon exploring. Quinta de Regalera and Pena Palace Gardens were stunning. We were back in Lisbon by late afternoon, had some time to decompress, and ended the evening with dinner at O Português in Chiado neighborhood. Chiado has a great energy, a little more polished than Alfama, with lots of great restaurants and cafes.
Aubergine tartare.
Day 4 was our Óbidos day. Again, the full video will be coming soon, and I'll link it. Óbidos is a medieval walled village about an hour from Lisbon. We were back in the city by mid-afternoon, and this is when we finally made it to Landeau. If you've not heard of Landeau, it's a small cafe in Lisbon known for one thing, their chocolate cake. It's been voted best chocolate cake in the world. If you stop, let me know. Do you agree? We finished the evening with dinner at Barracão de Alfama, a great spot right in the neighborhood. Day 5 was our hotel switch day. We checked out of Hygge House in the morning, dropped our bags at the Andaz Lisbon, a Hyatt property, and headed straight to Cascais for the day. Full Cascais video coming, but the short version, coastal town, completely different vibe from the rest of the trip, beautiful beach, and we walked out to Boca de Inverno, which is this dramatic spot where the Atlantic crashes into a rocky cliffside opening. Quick note on the Andaz, we used Hyatt points for those 2 nights transferred from Chase Sapphire. I only had enough points for 2 nights, which is why we picked a split stay for this trip. Dinner that night was at Lupita Pizza back in the city. Sometimes after a lot of traditional food, you just want really good pizza, and they delivered. Last full day, and we had no real plan, which ended up being exactly right. We walked to Feira de Ladra, the open-air flea market in the Alfama area that operates Tuesdays and Saturdays. The walk itself through part of the city is half the point. The flea market is a big, sprawling market. You'll find everything from antiques to vintage clothing to random odds and ends. We didn't buy much, but we loved wandering through it. From there, we grabbed lunch at Bike Bakery, then made our way using Bolt to LX Factory, which is a converted industrial complex turned into this eclectic mix of shops, restaurants, bookstores, and creative spaces. From there, we grabbed another Bolt over to Belém. Of course, we had to stop for another pastel de nata and a coffee before visiting Geronimo's Monastery. This is one of those places that even if you're not a history person, stops you in your tracks. It's an extraordinary piece of architecture, intricate, enormous, and incredibly well preserved. We reserved tickets for the last entry of the day, thinking the line would be shorter. I can't say that's the case, so do with that information what you will. We made one more quick stop back at Pastéis de Belém to bring our kids home some of the famous treats. We ended the trip with dinner at Antu back in Alfama, a perfect last night. We had an early airport morning, so we kept it relaxed and just soaked in the neighborhood one last time. That's 6 days in Lisbon. It exceeded every expectation I had, and I came home already thinking about going back. The day trip video for Sintra, Óbidos, and Cascais is in progress. I'll link it here when it goes live. If this video helped you plan your trip, save it so you can come back to it, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.